What is up, guys? Delboy here, bringing you a quick preview slash prediction for Lee Selby versus Josh Warrington. This fight is for the IBF featherweight title, and the fight goes down this weekend. And it takes place at Elland Road Stadium, which is home to Leeds United. Let's run through the records and attributes. So we'll start with the champion Lee Selby. He has a record of 26 wins, 1 defeat, 0 draws. 9 of those 26 wins coming by way of stoppage. Josh Warrington has a perfect record, of 26 wins, 0 defeats, 0 draws. 6 of those 26 wins coming by way of stoppage. And if we quickly look at the physical attributes, Lee Selby is listed as 5'8.5" with a 69-inch reach, whereas Josh Warrington is listed as 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. So Lee Selby does have a 2-inch reach advantage. So he is the taller, longer man, and in general he's the bigger man, you know. Lee Selby is quite a big featherweight. There has been talks in the past of him moving up a weight. So he's definitely the naturally bigger man. Going into the fight, you've got to say Lee Selby is a massive favourite. Overall, I feel he's fought with slightly better competition. He's had to do it the hard way, you know. He turned pro with no real backing, and he kind of got himself through the domestic scene, you know, beat Stephen Smith and kind of went on from there. He really did do it the tough way. And overall, I feel he's had the tougher fights in general. Warrington has got a couple of good wins. He beat Amagasa, who gave Rigondeaux a lot of issues. He also beat Kiko Martinez, but again, going into that fight, Martinez was viewed as shot. And that fight is very close. You could have gave it to Martinez. So, to me, Warrington, when he stepped up against Amagasa and certainly against Martinez, he's looked far from convincing. And stylistically, I feel this fight does favour Lee Selby. Obviously, Selby is the longer, taller man. He's the bigger man. And that's going to play into this fight because Josh Warrington's a guy who likes to stay compact. He likes to stay quite low and come forward, pop that jab and try and overwhelm you with pure volume. You know, he likes to get on the front foot, push you back and not give you any breathing room. You know, he really likes to make you fight his high octane type of fight. And I feel that his style is kind of made for Selby. So, like I said, he's the outboxer here. He's the longer, taller man. He's going to have ample opportunity to keep Warrington at the end of his jab. Warrington doesn't really move his head too much coming in, and that should make an easy target for Lee Selby's jab. Because although Josh Warrington does come forward with a high guard, I feel his guard is quite flimsy. You know, he doesn't hold his hands close enough together, and his guard doesn't look too tight. And I feel Selby's jab can penetrate that guard and find the target. So I feel Selby's jab is going to be a big issue for Josh Warrington because Selby's jab is quite consistent. He doesn't always throw it hard, but he consistently throws it. It's consistently a point-scoring shot for Selby. So I feel that Warrington's going to have a hard time getting past that without getting tagged up. And not only that, like I said, Warrington likes to come forward crouched behind his guard. You know, he'll be kind of behind his guard and his chin will be tucked. So he's he's not facing the floor, but his head's pointing downwards. And coming in, I really feel he's open for those Lee Selby uppercuts. Selby has really good punch-picking abilities at times. He can really pick some cracking shots at any range, you know, from the outside, up close, mid-range. And he's got a really sneaky uppercut. And he can time Josh Warrington with that coming in. Josh Warrington is made for a guy who can counter with an uppercut or throw a lead uppercut, you know. He's made for that. I think he's a sucker for that punch. And I feel overall the technical ability of Selby, the awkwardness, the movement of Selby will give Josh Warrington a world of problems. Having said that, Lee Selby has moments in fights where he switches off, almost James DeGale-esque at times, where he's comfortably in charge of a fight, and then all of a sudden, you know, he'll get a bit lackadaisical. He'll sit against the ropes. He'll get a bit more flat-footed. His volume might drop a tad, and he kind of lets his opponents back into it sometimes. And a good example of that was his last fight against Eduardo Ramirez. You know, he was always in control apart from when he took the foot off the gas. And even Fernando Montiel as well. Again, you know, there are times when he was just far too passive in that fight. And if he does have those moments against Josh Warrington, it could be to his detriment, because one thing about Warrington, despite him not being highly regarded in terms of his skill set, one thing Warrington brings that you've got to give him credit for is an extremely high work rate. He's got a pretty good chin, he looks like a tough lad, and he'll take a dig. So the pressure of Warrington could actually win him rounds in rounds where Selby kind of takes his foot off the gas. So Lee Selby needs to be active in this fight. That's his biggest crux going into it. You know, sometimes he does take a foot off the gas. Sometimes he does get a little bit lazy. Another time I recall that was against Ryan Walsh back in the day. And even Simeon as well. You know, Selby has that lazy streak in him. You know, when he could be doing a bit more, when he could be trying to close the show, or when he could be trying to put the exclamation point on his performance, he kind of just coasts sometimes and takes the easy route out. And that could be a potential issue against Josh Warrington. I actually feel this fight, I am picking Lee Selby to win. I just feel he's a much better boxer. However, I do feel Warrington is going to be competitive in stretches, just based on that pure aggression and work rate. I think he could win rounds. I think he could give Lee Selby some issues. But overall, I think the class will tell. Selby's going to find the better shots. He's going to land the crisper blows. His jab is going to be more effective. He's the longer, taller man. And I feel overall, the safe bet is Lee Selby on points. I could see a scenario where Warrington just walks onto too much and he takes too much punishment and the fight gets stopped by the referee. I could see that happening. But I'd say a Lee Selby points win is the most likely outcome. I don't really see a Warrington win, to be honest with you, but I think he will be a bit more competitive than some people are giving him credit for, you know. But interesting fight. Oh, one thing I failed to mention actually, the fight is actually going to be in Leeds and it's going to take place at the Elland Road Football Stadium. So basically, Josh Warrington has all the home support. He's going to have 20,000 plus fans screaming for him. And that could influence him and it could really make him perform that extra 5%. And also it could actually influence the judges. So Lee Selby needs to be careful. Can't afford close rounds because chances are they're going to go to Josh Warrington. Make no mistake, despite Lee Selby being the champion, Josh Warrington is the home fighter. And he's the guy they want to win. So Selby really needs to stamp his authority on these rounds. But yeah, interesting fight. I feel Selby's going to win on points. But I'm looking forward to it. I have to admit, when the fight was first announced, I wasn't really too bothered. But as the fights got closer, I am looking forward to it. And I do hope Lee Selby wins. I am a fan of Lee Selby. So, yeah, tell me what you guys think. Peace.